Welcome to the Running Back Podcast, where we run back things from the 80s and 90s. I'm Jason.
I'm Sarah.
And today we're turning it up all the way to 1999, and we watched Varsity Blues. So we watched a movie. We're having playing on mute in the background, and now we're going to talk about it.
So it came out January 1999. So you would have been like a sophomore in high school, right?
Yeah.
So, like, peak time for this movie. You are 100% the target audience for this.
That is true.
When you saw it, like, did you go to the movies and see it?
I don't remember. I just remember seeing it a lot.
Because this is your favorite movie, correct?
I felt like I would have seen it in
like
theaters.
It is tied for number one for your favorite movie. It is one of the favorites, yes. Like, you named our dog after this movie.
Even though she's a girl, named Moxie after Jonathan Moxie.
Right. And you quote this movie, I would say at least 4 times a day.
4?
Whether
That seems kind of low.
Whether you're at home or you're at work, but nobody you work with is old enough.
Yeah, they're all too young
to know that you're quoting a movie, so they just think you slip in and out of a Texas accent every now and then.
I don't think they could tell the Texas accent from this accent.
Alright, so we started dating in 2000. And I definitely did not see the movie until...
And I feel like I must have seen it in the theaters. And then I know me and my friends watched a lot.
Where does it rank for you in terms of other football? Is it your favorite football movie or Rudy, the program?
It's probably one of my favorites, but those are good too.
It's just kind of different.
It's
a different football movie.
I like it. I still like it.
We watched the trailer.
We watched the trailer beforehand.
We watched the movie, and there's so much stuff in the trailer that's not in the actual movie.
I don't know about...
Like all these sex scenes with Mox and Jules.
The missing train scene.
Yeah, then it's referenced throughout the movie like 3 or 4 times with no explanation. It seems weird that they took that scene out but then left all the other references to it in. And you're just like, what? You like trains better? What does that mean? Who's Pedro? Why is your dick named Pedro? Like,
I feel like that was all covered in the train scene.
I'm sure it was, but it's that they left all that in. But
I like trains better.
Took the scene explaining it out.
But what surprised me, and I know I watch this movie all the time, but I was paying much closer attention. It's not as... I mean, there are cheesy moments, but the acting wasn't as bad as I was thinking. And it's... Okay.
Well, I mean, it has big actors in it.
James Vanderbeek, John Voight. Is that his first name, John?
John Voight.
He is perfect for Kilmer. Like, he plays the bad guy to a T. The whole time he's an asshole.
He is a very scary football coach.
He plays a good asshole.
What I noticed is that Wendell here, other than the last team
Wendell
they play...
is the running back.
Right. Other than the last team they play in the movie, he is literally the only black person in the entire dang football movie. Literally. He's the only one on the team. He's the only one in any of the crowds. Like, it got to the point that
there has to be more.
It got to the point that it was like, where's Waldo in the crowd trying to find one?
No.
Other than Wendell.
The pep rally scene's playing right now, and I'm kind of noticing that.
Yeah. Yeah. In the stadium, in the crowds, nothing. And then there's a running back on the other team.
There were multiple players for the opposite team, especially Gilroy, that last team.
The last team, but other than that, the only one. I thought that.
The soundtrack was really too.
I have soundtrack equals 90s hot fire.
I feel like the soundtrack took this movie from most people would, let me say, some people would like it, to it's okay, to that's a better movie. Like, it took it to the next level. The soundtrack makes it. Even the parts where they just use like an orchestra. Like in the hook and ladder play in the last bit, right. They were doing the orchestra. And what was really good, the other part that makes this movie is the opening monologue and the closing monologue. Like, I feel like I
definitely like the monologue, but we'll get there.
But I love Kyle on the cross.
Where did Kyle get this cross that his family knows about? Cause his mom's it's like, breakfast. Oh, is he on that cross again?
It's breakfast. He's already been up to Mox's room. He's already talked. They come down. It's breakfast. How early did Kyle get up? Like, did he build this cross yesterday? Or did he find it in the yard somewhere?
I don't know where he got it, but everybody seems to know he has it.
But it's like 6 in the morning.
He woke up extra early to crucify himself.
Dying for all man's sins.
It's very sad. Something sadder?
What?
I would call it a fun fact, but I guess it's a sad fact. The actor that played Kyle wrote a note, left it in his car, disappeared, and hasn't been seen since 2006.
Oh, do we need to rip Kyle?
Possibly R.I.P. to Kyle.
Rip Kyle?
He is believed to be dead, but has not been seen.
We need to rip Billy Bob and Paul Walker.
I know. It's like a curse. We must protect James Vanderbeek and old Con over here.
No, other than this movie, I was never really a fan of the Beak.
I have never seen the first episode of Dawson's Creek.
Nope.
Not the first one. Did not care. But I'm pretty sure he wore those pants, those jeans in Dawson's Creek.
Yeah.
Like, the 90s fashion kind of made me sick to my stomach because it's coming back.
Oh, I noticed.
Like, 90s fashion is coming back in a big time way, and I'm really hoping we don't have the extra baggy straight leg carpenter pant come back in style, because I just can't. Like, if you're not going to put a hammer in that loop, don't wear it.
But it's handy. I did notice you're talking about style. Jules, Mox's girlfriend, is wearing a scrunchie in the one scene.
Uh-huh.
But Darcy has that funky, I don't know what it's called, that hair clip.
A hair clip.
But, nobody wears
like a
things.
spider clip.
Oh, it's called.
I think it's funny that Jules goes absolutely out of her way to not wear any school-related clothes at the football games. Like, she just has on, like, a beige sweater, and I'm like, get out of here. You're 100% the only one. Your brother was the quarterback, then your boyfriend was the quarterback. You can't muster up a shirt or a jersey or...
It just wasn't her style. She didn't like...
I know, but come on.
The whole deal.
She just, at that point, it was a statement. It was a statement.
So before we go any further, I'm going to talk about... We watched the trailer beforehand because it was on there, which surprisingly we had.
We did. Old school DVD.
But I have a love-hate relationship with that particular one. I hated because it basically showed the entire movie.
It showed absolutely everything.
Like if you had never seen this before, you watched the trailer and you're like, oh. And then you watch the movie, you'd have been like, I wasted all that time because they told me everything.
Yeah.
Like they went through the whole thing.
They told absolutely
So I really hate that. Like I think trailers should be limited to the first 25% of a movie just to tell you what it's about. Like if I know what the movie's about, I know whether or not I will want to watch. Whether or not it's good is a different story. But especially like comedy movies, they always say all the good jokes. Trailers.
How about the fact that it's an in-movie production and like the astronaut at the beginning? Like did the astronaut give you all the feels? All the feels.
You pointed out all the movies they had produced.
Did so
and
many
they did
movies.
A lot of
They did a lot more
ones.
movies than I ever thought they did. I thought it was like this and the Jackass movies, and that was kind of it.
Back to the after breakfast, Billy Bob picks up Mox.
Yeah, I have an issue with that too. So Mox is supposed to be like this super smart guy going to an Ivy League college, right? He leaves the house with 0 books, no book bag. No, he didn't.
He tossed it in the truck.
No, he did not. He chased down that truck. He had absolutely nothing on.
I'm pretty sure he tossed it in the back and then he ran to the front.
That's Lance. Lance had a book bag. The only one, Wendell was reading a book and then Lance had a book bag and everybody else just nothing.
But Billy Bob is eating his breakfast. He's dipping pancakes in peanut butter and drinking maple syrup.
Which took me back to the guy at IHOP a few months ago during all-you-could-eat pancake time that ate like 12 plates of those pancakes, and he kept asking for peanut butter with them. I was like, if you do not have diabetes, you are on your way. Like, you need to check into the hospital right now. You're gonna die. He was pulling maple syrup on him, too.
And here's the thing. They took that damn pig to school. What did this pig do while they were at school? They went to school. They had a pep rally. They had the pig. Later on, the pig's at the party with them after the game. Where did this pig go during school or during the game?
I mean, I guess they get away with murder the entire rest of the town. Why couldn't the pig just go to school?
Then Tweeter jumps in the
Why
truck.
are you denying bacon and education?
I'm guessing he stayed in the back of the truck.
Like,
but at least it wasn't inside the truck.
Texas, the back of a truck for a pig.
Things about
I don't want to think about it.
Then Kilmer, the first... Alright, Tweeter gets in the truck, yelling he needs to hit some ass. Tweeter's problematic.
Old Tweeter couldn't exist in 2019 woke culture.
He has the I need to hit some ass. He has the panty dropper line where he's talking about 2 Percocets.
Yeah, 2 Percocets will drop her panties. Is he also the one that says faggots from Bingville?
No, that is Billy Bob's prayer. His pregame prayer. So, and that is a word that you cannot just throw out there willy-nilly.
You cannot be saying that. Also, Kilmer grabbing the kids' face masks and pulling them in and smacking them in the head. Like I've seen college coaches fired for less.
That's today's culture.
That's what I'm talking about. All of this is under woke right here.
But Kilmer, Kilmer's an asshole from the get-go. During the pep rally, it's I won these 22 district titles. I got 2 state championships. I did this. He's not talking about we, and he's got his whole team behind him. He doesn't say, these guys have a chance to do this. This team, we, never once. It's always I, me. Asshole from the beginning.
I have a problem with the entire Kilmer timeline, because in that speech he said that he's been coaching football for 30 years. And then one of the asshole parents that's like at practice was like, he used to ride my ass the same way 40 years ago. And I'm like, he's only been coaching for 30.
20 years.
Are you sure?
20 years ago.
Okay. That makes me feel better. It's like, because that math don't work out. Y'all just threw out random numbers.
Alright, this scene right here, it's the first party after the first game, and Amy Smart, Jules is making Billy Bob drink. He's about to call some dinosaurs.
She knows he's going to throw up, and I want you to look at her eyes, because she kind of looks,
yeah, she's like, gotcha, and takes her little victory swig.
She looks so evil in that moment.
Into it.
It's like a victory.
Make my statement, then I'm going to ask you a question. Alright.
Can I plead the fifth?
The two main girls in the movie are Allie Lauder, who plays Darcy.
Right.
Amy Smart, who plays Jules.
Uh-huh.
I was always different from everybody else. I said Amy Smart was hotter.
I know.
No disrespect to Allie Lauder and her whipped cream bikini. Like, in today's language, that shit was fire. But Jules was hotter.
That's just what you've always liked.
So, who's the hottest guy? Let me ask 2 questions. It might be the same answer for both. Mox or Lance, or is Tweeter or one of the other players hotter?
I would go with Lance. I would say young Paul Walker. May you rest in peace.
Rip Paul Walker.
But that's just our personal preference. Like, I've always, dug blonde guys. You always like brunette girls that are quiet, and you've always had a aversion to the thirsty girl, which I have a lot to say about. I believe that Darcy may have been the thirstiest thought ever to appear in a movie.
How quickly she just rolls out in the hospital when Mox is leaving. Yes.
So her boyfriend gets hurt with 1:04 left in that game. So she had that minute, and then the drive to the hospital, and while he was in surgery. So let's say conservatively, she had 4 hours to make up her mind.
I don't even think that long.
Conservatively.
So Kilmer gets nervous because they talk about there's more scar tissue. I'm surprised he hadn't said anything earlier. He looks at Mox, is like, this is a family thing. You probably need to go home and get some rest. And he's not even 10 steps away. And she's like, I guess I should go too, this being a family thing and all. And takes off running down the hallway after him.
In front of his girlfriend.
In the car.
In front of the family of her
wiping
boyfriend.
Her tears away and starts to change clothes in front of Mox to go to that party.
By the way, crocodile tears. Those were not real tears. And then 100% rips off her clothes in the car. Starts running her fingers through his hair. Talking about, things change. You don't always have to do the right thing. Which she says twice. And then gives him those fuck me eyes as she leaves. And she's like, we'll continue this anytime.
For a high school guy, he held strong as he could.
Yeah, because y'all...
He held strong as he could.
Speaking as a girl that used to be in high school, y'all cannot handle to have somebody run their fingers through your hair. It kills you all.
Really?
Yeah. And, especially if you're naked.
Oh, yeah.
Naked in a car, it's all over. I want to go back a little bit, though, when she still, quote-unquote, loves Lance. And that forever unclean laundry room. Like, I don't know what kid threw that party, but the parents are going to have a real, rough Saturday morning.
Oh,
that there's about a ton of vomit in the washer, and there's,
he said 2 hot dogs.
And there's, jizz all over the dryer.
No, I think she took it off. She was a pro.
Took it off.
He was like, I don't know if I can concentrate. She was like, oh, I've done this before. Let the dryer do the work. She was definitely experienced.
Definitely. I just can't get over how quickly she turned coat on poor Lance, man.
Oh, it was quick. He's going to end up staying here, coaching
You're getting ahead of
JV
yourself.
football, and being the manager at Walmart.
Yeah, because she had all the faith in the world in him. He has no intelligence. He could only throw this football.
She's like, I just need to get out of here.
I just wanted to come with you.
Mox went to her house. Her house didn't look small, especially when they're on the outside and they got that huge porch.
It was a nice house.
The 17 guns in the living room on display instead of a TV.
Well, it's Texas. No offense.
And her parents were at the half-price night at the gun club.
That's right. That's right, where they go every week. I understand why she wants to get out, but I don't know why she's hitching all her wagons to a guy.
Just a lot of girls do. I don't know why they do it.
This isn't PC and it's probably going to get me in trouble. I'm sorry, don't at me. But maybe take the dick out of your mouth for a second and open a book. And you can get out by yourself.
Well, that's what Mox tells her. Is like, you're smart. You can get out by yourself. Which, by the way, when they're at the party, Mox says, he's looking at Jules. He's like, how come you never dress like that? And what does she say?
Takes a lot of money to look that cheap.
Yeah.
He said she's pretty sharp. She pulls A's. And she's
like, that's not all she pulls. Can't believe I was losing that one.
I know. You could say the entire, in the apocalypse, I assume that we will live because we get to reenact this movie that we now know word for word.
Fire that fucking pigskin. No, they're at the barbecue. There's the whole challenge where Mox's dad says his son would be the starter if Kilmer wasn't such an asshole, which he is.
Right.
They put the can on their heads. Lance nails it. And Mox just gets mad at his dad and fucking blasts him in the nose. And then it was that first game where Lance got hurt and there wasn't very much time on the clock. He had to throw the ball out and he hits the ref. And his dad realizes, he
hits the B. He hits the mascot for the other team.
Yeah. He hits the mascot and his dad realizes, he fucking did it on purpose.
He 100% broke his nose on purpose. Yeah. I want to talk about the mom, though. About Mox's
the alcoholic?
Because she is an alcoholic with a capital A. And I think it's to deal with her very insufferable prick of a husband.
Yeah. Now, on the scale, I think Lance's dad was a little bit worse.
Probably.
But Mox's dad was definitely...
He's awful. His kid gets accepted to an Ivy League school and he doesn't care. He does not want to talk about it. He wants to talk about a football game. Crazy. So now, we're in this sex ed class. And he very impressively names 15 slangs.
Oh.
For
You're not the only one that counted.
Did you count as well?
No, I counted something else.
I was like, 15. That's impressive. And the first kid named one too. So that's 16 penis slangs.
Is the first kid from anything? The one that says boner?
He looks very familiar, but I do not.
But he's got he's got the stereotypical late 90s haircut. The sideburns, short sideburns, but they're kind of long. The 2 necklaces, the long sleeve shirt pulled rolled all the way up.
Yeah, I think that might be why he looks familiar. I think we may have done him.
And is that a button on that chain?
I don't know, but that is a very 90s, just the ball chain.
Yeah. And Miss Davis is kind of hot, but we'll get to that.
We will definitely get to that later.
But let's go back to right before Lance got hurt. Billy Bob takes a shot in the end zone when they scored.
Right.
And they start asking him, how many fingers am I holding up?
Right.
Mox runs out there, he's like, no, Billy Bob, the man's holding up some fingers.
It's got to be true or false.
Billy Bob's like, true?
Right.
And they just let him go.
Yeah.
There's no concussion protocol or nothing.
Everybody on the team is on pain pills. They're just like passing them out in the locker room, and then they all go to the party and get drunk. And it's really a wonder that any of these kids are alive, because there are also like an insane number of helmet-to-helmet hits. Like, clearly Billy Bob has CTE, but I'm thinking like a fair number of the other high school football players also have CTE.
Yeah. But Billy Bob was able to puke and rally.
Poor old Billy Bob. You know, he had, like, the weight loss surgery and lost 348 pounds in real life, and then freaking died. Like, not of the surgery, he just... First, he didn't get any roles when he was skinny, because they wanted fat him, not skinny him. And then he died. That would just piss me off. If I lost 348 pounds and then died.
He lost 348 pounds?
348 pounds. Also, another Billy Bob fun fact I have, in the last game, when he has to be put in on defense to block the punt, he ripped one of his ligaments, I can't remember which one, getting down into the 3-point stance because he was so big. They said that he had good hands. He had no problem catching the ball. He could catch the ball on the first try every take, but he ripped something getting his bigness down into a 3.
I mean, he was a big dude, but wow.
Yeah, that's rough times.
Yeah.
But so, in the game that Lance does get hurt in, Billy Bob gets knocked out. Like, he is unconscious on the field. The play goes on. Lance gets hurt. Billy Bob is still unconscious on the field. There's a medical team surrounding Lance. Nobody goes to check on Billy Bob. No. He just wakes up on his own and then runs over to check on Lance as well. They just left him for dead.
At that stage in high school, linemen are expendable.
But they just left him for dead. Like,
next man up.
Somebody could have, like, checked to see if he was breathing.
You got a skill player laying on the ground and a lineman, they're not coming for you. Your boy's got to come get you.
But even his boy didn't come get him. Nobody did.
I don't think they had time.
It was just sad.
Back to Darcy being thirsty. She's undressing in the car.
Yeah.
And, you know, Mox held strong.
Oh, you really ain't looking so sweet.
And he doesn't go to the party. He ends up going drinking some beer.
Yeah, I like that the Mini Mart clerk exchanges his, like, 24-ounce Coca-Cola for a six-pack of Bud.
I want that exchange rate.
Won't take his money.
That's excellent. And then Tweeter shows up with 3 naked girls in a cop car.
A stolen police car, yeah.
And now...
It's like, I'm going to go to jail.
That girl asks Mox if he could keep her warm. And he again, holds strong. He gives her his Letterman jacket. Now, we have talked about this before because I was like, okay, if some girl showed back up at school on Monday morning wearing my jacket,
right?
How much shit would I have been in?
Oh yeah, like
nobody would ever believe that story. Oh, how did she get your jacket? Tweeter showed up and she was naked and I gave her my jacket and they left. Oh, they left? They did?
Oh, yeah.
Now, there's no way y'all believe that.
We dated in high school, so I don't even have to imagine. I know what would have happened. I know how teenage girls think, and we're all awful. We're all very hormonal. We don't trust anybody, and I 100% would have murdered you. Also, say she doesn't show up Monday with your jacket, that means she left your jacket in the stolen police car that you had nothing to do with.
Yeah.
So it was just a bad move all the way around. Like, he's a good guy mostly. He mostly does the right things, but he also kind of always does slightly the wrong thing.
After Mox started, and he has his interview.
Oh, he's like... The radio interview is a shit show.
He's like, oh, shucks. Or no, he says, heck. And then he's like, you know, Jonathan Moxon is only one man. And the look that Jules gives him...
was an appropriate look.
Yeah, she was just like...
What the fuck? Who are you? I have never met you before in my life.
Exactly.
Yeah, because he is having a full-on existential crisis.
And at this point...
He no longer has any idea who he is.
Right before the interview, Miss Davis tells him good game. She leaves in her brand new convertible Mustang, and Mox makes the point is like, hey, that's a really nice car. How does she afford that?
Also, she said, I'll see you in class on Monday. And he said, yeah, you will. I was like, oh, I don't think I've ever caught that before.
And that's
maybe
when I
dial
noticed
it back a little bit.
Jules' scrunchie. Yeah, from the 90s.
Scrunchies are back. I just bought, a couple of weeks ago, a pack of scrunchies.
Are you sure you didn't already have all those scrunchies?
I purchased those scrunchies new. So I want to know, after Mox becomes the starting quarterback, and he gets the giant
billboard
in his yard that Lance had at the beginning.
Do they take Lance's down?
Yeah, are they like cold as ice and take Lance's billboard down?
I don't know. I feel like they gotta leave it up.
Put up his, because we never really see the front yard again, but you do see Mox at that house several more times, and there's never a billboard displayed, but you also don't really see that angle. So I wonder if they took it down, because that is just ice cold.
But that billboard went up pretty quick.
Oh, yeah.
And one of my favorite scenes in the movie is Jonathan Moxon pacing back and forth in the convenience store looking at condoms.
I used to hate when you quoted it in high school when we were dating.
It's like, what's my upside to being good?
I'm always good. What's my upside to being good? It would make me so irrationally
mad. His little brother's in the aisle next to him. He's looking over the thing, and he's like, his little brother starts talking about Allah. All of the names for Allah. And he's like, but would Allah now Darcy be any chance? And his little brother Kyle has to think about it. He's like, I think he would.
Then he makes this poor little boy buy his condom. So then he goes to the house with the very famous whipped cream bikini that is actually shaving cream. In case you were a teenager in the 90s or 2000s and attempted that and it didn't work, it wasn't you. It's shaving cream.
In the car when she undressed that first time, he was like, I can handle it.
He can handle what? What?
When she asked if it bothered him that she was changing, he was like, I can handle it. I thought that was funny.
Then she comes up to him at school, and she's like, so what time are you coming over? And he's like, what are we talking about? She's like, I'm not telling anybody you're coming over. My parents are going to be gone late. Just come. Just anytime after 7. Yeah.
But now, he tries to deflect that, too.
He still goes.
Starts about Lance, and then she's like, this isn't about Lance. This is about you and me.
Yeah.
Like, thirsty. Like, my mouth got dry watching that.
Oh, yeah. It is like I have been eating salt. This girl is so thirsty.
Now, back to that scene. She asks him if he wants a sundae.
Well, first of all, she's dressed very plain. She has on no makeup. Her hair's up in the little clip. She has on, like, a sweatsuit. And she's like, nobody ever sees me like this.
She still looked good. She
knew what she was doing.
But you know.
And I thought it was funny that she said, he was like, this is the best you've ever looked. And she was like, you're sweet, but you also know you are. Yeah. I was like, yeah, he kind of, it's sweet, but with the side of butthole.
So, Darcy asks, she says she was going to make a sundae. She asks if he talks to him. It takes her exactly 16 seconds to come out naked in that fucking whipped cream bikini.
Trowel and then put whipped cream all over her tits and vag with cherries very, very quickly.
Also, went through the effort of grabbing the glasses for no reason.
Oh, yeah, like for sure.
Sunday. Yeah. For sure. But I thought it was funny. It took her 16 seconds.
I wonder what you said.
What could you do in 16 seconds? I can't do shit in 16 seconds. I probably couldn't get naked
anymore. In 16 seconds, to be honest with you. But I'm old now, so I mean, maybe what is she, 17, 18? Probably could have gave it a go.
Yeah.
But so her boyfriend's in the hospital. There's a picture of them on the bookcase together, which Mock sees, and they start to kind of make out with her in her little whipped cream bikini, and he pushes her away and says he can't. And he was like, I might love Jules, I don't know, Lance might love you, and she's like, I don't love Lance, it was never about that, I just needed to get out with him.
To want a better life.
Yeah, and then, very quickly, which you've already said, it was never love, it was about getting a better life, now he's going to be stuck here working at Walmart and coaching JV football.
No, he's going to coach JV football and be the manager of Walmart.
Well, I mean, at least she thinks he has the skills to be manager, I guess.
I mean, high hopes.
My goodness. And then, so he doesn't do anything. And then the next day at school, she's embarrassed about it. But then what's up with, like, the 3 to 4 second kiss she plants on him in the middle of school?
Here's the bad thing.
That's not going to be an issue.
Yeah, he's talking to Wendell, and Wendell's talking about Kilmer's an asshole. I'm his black workhorse. I only have 3 touchdowns because every time we get inside the 10, he hands it. It's a wide out to a receiver or Lance on a rollout. But when they're done when Mox makes his deal, I'm going to get you in
he
this.
sees her
He's like,
stalking.
hey, you got business to tend to. And the first time I watched the movie, it's like she's just standing there staring. I'm like, dude, you can't.
Yeah, she's.
You got to be a little covert about it.
She's 100% stalking him, and Wendell notices, and then she gives him like this 3-second kiss in the middle of school in the hallway, and Jules sees it. But even if she didn't, like that wasn't going to get back to her.
It wasn't really like a French kiss. It was just on the lips, but she definitely held it.
Okay, it was significantly longer than a. It was
like the Tom Brady kissing his kids.
Oh my god!
I mean, it was like okay, if some girl that I knew just did that, it would be awkward as fuck. The problem with the whole thing is like it was probably fine in Jules' eyes until like he didn't push her away.
No, he did not. He was like, she kissed me, and I'm like, you had ample opportunity to shoo her away.
But
even if she didn't see it, it's high school. She's going to know before that class ends. Probably before she takes a seat.
But in Moxon's defense, there's
no defense.
He's a kid in high school. He has already basically seen this girl naked. She is on his, without actually riding it, she is on his dick the whole entire time.
Yes, she is.
It's hard. His instinct to push her, something's hard. His instinct to push her away is probably just not there anymore because his dick brain's like, dude, let's fucking go. It's go time.
I mean, I was never a teenage boy, but that seems like it probably checks out. So they go to the strip club, okay? And they're having a good time. Everything's chill. Their teacher comes out to Hot for Teacher.
Hold on. Before we get to that, let's talk about how they're at the strip club. The girl brings drinks. And she's like, you guys are out on the house all night. You know, right. The owner paid for their stuff.
That was significantly a mistake.
Dumb. They had a game the next day. Everybody in this town knows that there's a game.
Yeah.
Because whenever they show them traveling, it's just like a convoy of cars.
Yeah, it says the last one out of town, turn off the lights.
Yeah, that's the billboard as you leave town. And so I thought that was kind of dumb on his part.
But I want to know what you think's more awkward. The fact that Lance is at the table and he leans over and tells Mox how he's the only one that came to see him and he's the only one that cares and thank you so much for everything you've done and I don't know what I would do without you. Moments after he almost fucked his girlfriend.
It was
the next day. It was the next day. Or that their sex ed teacher came out to Hot for Teacher and which is more awkward?
Probably the Lance situation.
Yeah. So awkward.
Like, the teacher situation, that's like all their high school fantasies, especially if you have a hot teacher. But she was real shook at the beginning. And then she got into it.
Awkwardly
got into it.
Like, when she hit her ass against the stage, I was like, oh, you're feeling yourself now, huh?
No, but before that, Billy Bob got up and was
Billy Bob absolutely.
And the bouncer comes up, gives him a beer as he ushers him off stage.
Escorts him off the stage. The sunlight scene, when they walk out of the strip club at 7 a.m. the next morning. Now, they were supposed to meet at the mini mart at 10.
So they've been...
that night to go to the strip club. They walk out at 7 in the morning. But when they're squinting and the sunlight hits them in their eyes, I think about that scene literally every time we've ever went to the movie theater and seen a movie in the dark, and then you walk out in the middle of the day and you're like, oh God. And I'm like, I'm just like those people from the strip club every time.
What'd you say? 7 o'clock.
Yeah. So, the scene that's on now, going back a little bit, is the cop complaining about all the destruction they've done. They stole the car. They
here's the weird thing. They're in the middle of the day at a bar.
Yeah.
And Coach Kilmer just happens to be doing some paperwork behind them at this bar.
They put their wangers on the glass at the Alano Club.
Wangers on the glass at the Alano Club? Ain't right.
Also, I'm not really a beer drinker, so you might have to explain to me, but why does this man pour salt in his bottle of beer?
It gets rid of the foam, which he's pouring it into a bottle.
It's in a bottle, and it looks more foamy to me.
It's dumb. Some people just need... I don't know.
Moving on. They leave the strip club. They go play in the game that night.
Let's talk about the name of the strip club. The name of the strip club was the Landing Strip.
Oh, that's a good job.
Yeah.
I've never noticed the strip club.
No, there wasn't a lot of product placement in this.
No.
Wendell has a Reebok shirt.
And a hat.
That's a about it. There's no...
Yeah, it's all made up stuff. Like,
they made up, like, their scoreboards all have, like,
Main Street
West
Pharmacy.
Canaan, Main Street Pharmacy, West Canaan Bank, and all this, like, generic hometown
like
business kind of stuff.
Like you would see in an actual small town.
No real product place.
So, they lose the game after the strip club, and the coach blames Billy Bob. Gives Billy Bob a horrible time.
But again, he was like, "You ruined my perfect season."
Yeah.
Like, not
you broke my quarterback.
I mean, he stays an asshole all the way.
I lost my quarterback because of you. Yeah. So Billy Bob gets all depressed because he currently has CTE and drops Bacon off at Mox's house and goes to the football field.
Well, immediately Mox knows something's wrong because he dropped Bacon.
He goes to the football field and he's drinking and shooting all of his old football trophies, clearly with the intent of then killing himself. And it's a very sad scene, but what I noticed...
I don't know that he was going to kill himself, but he was definitely
1,000%
not in the right frame of mind.
But he has the Walking Dead Herschel Edition shotgun that has infinite ammo and never needs to be reloaded.
We should have counted his shots.
He shoots 3 trophies, but he shoots that one like 3 times. He shoots significantly more than the shotgun can hold at once.
I mean, depending on it, it might have
a shotgun. Isn't that just like 2 at a time?
Yeah, but some of them are made different. Like the tactical shotguns, you load the bottom. There's like 2 bottom barrels.
And then Mox takes it and shoots the poster.
Yeah, they might should have had a reload.
Yeah, but it was very, very sad. I felt very bad. Actually,
but they give it some comedic relief at the end. It was like,
Mox's
I need you. Who's gonna save my ass? And he was like, "Your bony ass." Kind of nice. Billy Bob looks both ways to see anybody's watching. Yeah, it's kind of nice.
But it's not Captain America's ass. It's not America's ass.
Oh, but at the beginning of one of these practices, when Tweeter's talking about his panty dropper, and Mox says, "Tweeter, do you think you'll enjoy prison?" He was like, "I don't know."
Yeah, he's 100% going. Oh my gosh. So I like that Coach Kilmer threatens him that he's going to take away his ride to Brown if he doesn't play in the football game. Because at first I was like, what can he do? He can't do anything like this.
He was just
dummy knows anybody there. Like, why does he believe that? But then he said, I'll get in the computer and change your transcript, which he probably could do.
I think he was full of it, though. Cause I don't think he was actually... Because even if you notice how he looked when he said that, he was trying to look intimidating. Like, I hope you don't see through this shit.
He 100% looks intimidating anytime he has resting intimidation face.
Now, didn't fall seem a bit early for that acceptance letter?
I mean, maybe he was really smart, early acceptance.
In the fall, though? I mean, semester
not everybody's
just started.
A slacker and waited until the last second to apply to a college.
Hey, I knew where I was.
He did too. So then he gets all...
I think he was scared, a little worried.
Oh, so in that game, it's the last game, Wendell gets hurt. He hurts his leg, and they're going to shoot his knee up like they had done Lance. And they're all telling him not to. And he says, are you going to take the advice of a gimp?
Yeah.
Talking about his former star quarterback, like the person he staked 4 years of his career on, is now just a gimp. Like, how quickly all of these people turned coat on him the second he got hurt. Yeah. How everybody in his life was using him to their own ends.
Even when he got hurt, his dad in the stands was like, "Oh no,
don't do this to me." Yeah.
What about his ride?
Everybody was using him to their own means. And not when his dad's talking to the surgeon. He's not, "Oh my God, how is he? Is he all right? Did he come through surgery fine?
When can he play?
When can he play? But when? When?" I was like, what the heck? But I like how the team came together against him. I thought that Billy Bob threatening Kilmer, he said, if that needle comes anywhere near his leg, I'll rip your damn head off.
Hell, I'll rip your arms off and beat death with
Okay.
That's what he said.
It took him so much by surprise. Kilmer's face was just, what the hell just happened? When did I lose control of this situation?
He tries to shut the door and Mox opens again.
Right.
Because he's like, you don't give a fuck about us. And it's then, the only way we're going back out there is without you.
And then he runs at him, throws him down on the table,
Mox
and chokes him.
looked legitimately scared in that. I think he really choked him.
I don't think he knew it was coming, yeah. But then he stands up and acts like everything's chill. And he's like, all right, guys, get your helmets. Come on, guys, let's go. I was like, dude, like, everybody saw that happen there. Like, nobody's getting on the field. You just choked like a kid.
But I like what Mox said to the team before they do go back out. That before the game, Kilmer said, these 48 minutes for the next 48 years of your life. And he was like, fuck that. The next 24 minutes, we're going to play as hard as we can for the next 24 minutes and leave it all on the field and let's do that.
Here's what I'm confused by. Because he said he never, at the end, after they win, in his little voiceover, he says he never played football again. But that wasn't the last game. It was like the last regular season. And then there should have been playoffs. Because he was like, when Kilmer was giving his speech, he's like, if you don't win this game, you can forget about regionals or states
the district type.
Yeah.
But he probably just quit after that.
I mean, I guess that's possible. It was just weird.
They had to end the movie.
I guess. I just thought it was weird. I'm like, he could have been like, we went on to win this. And then I never played again. It was just weird.
But I like they go through the hook and ladder, and Lance signals it out like you think he would. Mox is like...
That's another thing. So Kilmer doesn't go back out on the field, and then what? There's like 0 assistant coaches available?
Yeah, so they just kicked the whole coaching squad off.
So this high school kid on crutches now becomes the de facto coach?
Well, him and Wendell, too, on crutches.
I know. It was just weird.
But Mox was a little bit of a coach,
yeah,
too.
Everybody's smart. Everybody's the coach.
They kind of skipped.
There should have been an assistant coach somewhere, right?
They skipped the whole third quarter. They skipped because they said there was 8 minutes left in the game. Right. So that would have been the fourth quarter. But the announcers keep mentioning there's no sign of Kilmer anywhere. But they do the hook and ladder, goes through. Everybody's celebrating. The closing monologue comes on. You know, Mox is talking about how Billy Bob cries because he's a crier, and Tweeter drank beer because, well, Tweeter drinks beer. Right. Tweeter is on the field, still in uniform, shaking up beers and spraying everybody.
Oh, like he just won the World Series.
Yeah, in the middle of this high school football game.
Yeah, like he just won the World Series. Absolutely.
It was great.
But they cut to Kilmer, who's just like quietly packing up his office, and then he catches his reflection in his like Coach of the Year trophy from 1989.
At that moment, he realized it's an asshole.
From like 1989 to like 10 years before this, and he like sees his reflection, and you see like this shame come over him. And I was like, maybe you get that you're an ass now.
I like how he just quit altogether.
He was, well, I mean, you're not coming back from that.
Again.
Like, you choked a kid. You don't get to come back from that.
I don't know. Back then, you might get got away with that.
You might have got away with it. I don't know. Where does it rank in your football movies? I think I already asked you that.
I'm going to have to... In football movies, number 1.
I was going to say, I assume it's pretty high since it's your actual movie.
Like, no, I'm... Back to the soundtrack. I think the soundtrack and that opening closing monologue took this movie to the next level. You had the whole Green Day, Nice Guys Finish Last, My Hero by the Foo Fighters. Right. The credits was run by Collective Soul. Had Third Eye Blind, Van Halen, Hot for Teacher, Jams, Thunderstruck, which apparently was by Sprung Monkey, and I'd go with the original.
So, we've mentioned that this is your favorite movie.
It's time for reviews.
And this has quickly become my favorite thing to do. So, the Rotten Tomatoes score. It gives you 2 scores, like the actual critics and then the audiences. Do you want to guess?
I'm going to guess
the critics score.
I'm going to guess critics score was probably very low.
41%.
Was the fans any higher?
77.
Wow.
It says critic consensus above. This is a predictable football movie that lacks intensity. I mean, I thought it had some pretty intense moments there. Like, Billy Bob was going to kill himself.
It was a football movie in the sense that they played football. But it was kind of about all the other shit around it. Like, it was more the house parties, their BS social drama. Because in high school, your social drama is so minuscule. Like, what you thought was drama back then... It's like, okay, so don't talk to them again. What?
Right. Yeah.
Like, but all that shit gets blown up because you are forced to deal with the same kids every single day. Right. Like, you gotta come spend 8 hours a day with these kids, and y'all just sat there and talk shit about each other.
So it came out in January. And this review was written...
That is an odd time to come out with a football January.
This review was written in January of... It's a critic's review. Already a prime candidate for 1999's worst movie.
Wow.
Yeah, like they clearly
That's
hated
the
it.
First sentence?
That is the only sentence.
Oh.
That is just...
Oh, they put a lot of work into that. They put a lot of effort.
That is the first and last word.
I wonder if they just watched the trailer.
I don't know. Well, it pretty much showed everything. This person was an actual person, not a critic. I was never exactly bored while watching it, but I hasten to add that I was rarely ever entertained.
Really? I mean, you got the
original
the whole
score 1.5 out of 4.
But you got the whole quarterback scene, nothing but net.
I know you were very entertained.
The puking Riley and Jonathan Mox, star quarterback for the West Canaan Coyotes at my window.
This person gave it a 1-star review, and I don't necessarily agree with that, but I do agree with what they said, 100%. Yeah, teachers can totally work as strippers in a small town and no one will know about it, sure thing. Like 100%, if one of our teachers worked at a strip club, everybody is knowing that.
Yeah, I think a lot of our teachers did a lot of things that everybody knew about.
Yeah, like there's no secrets happening. So this person gave it a half of 1 star. Gave it a 0.5 out of 5 stars.
Alright.
Okay. Hands down, the worst football movie ever made.
Wrong.
And that is saying a lot. All you have to do is think of the absolute worst stereotypes about football players, football parents, cheerleaders, and coaches, then mix them all together and you create a travesty called Varsity Blues. The writers and makers of this trash obviously had issues to work out from their youth, and with Revenge of the Nerds already taken, they chose this path instead. Do not waste your time with it.
I don't feel like they portrayed these guys in a bad light, though.
I think it's a ramped up version of things that actually happen in high school.
Like, it was somebody who thought their coach was an asshole.
Right.
Which a lot of them, like, ours wasn't.
Right.
But a lot of them are. Like,
Absolutely.
You get somebody that's been shit on their whole life and they get a little bit of power over some little people and they go a little too hard in the paint with it.
So this one, probably, like, we have the movie on mute in the background and it is the strip club scene right now. So there is a lot of TNA going on, which I guess is probably what this person is talking about. But they rated it, like, recently, like February 2nd of 2019.
Really? How you gonna rate this movie from
1 star, vile, horrible language, X-rated movie, horrible.
X-rated?
X-rated.
I mean, you got some boobs.
I guess these boobs.
Oh, they might have been offended here at Billy Bob.
They were offended by Billy Bob's
Billy Bob dropped his pants, too,
I
man.
think his pants just fell down, to be honest with you.
No, he took his belt off. He had a belt on.
But X-rated, I thought was a bit much. And foul language, way, way, way too much. Warning. Could not even watch it. I'm sorry, I lost money on this one.
They dropped the F-bomb like twice.
I was going to say, I don't really remember a lot of language.
They do say the word faggot.
They do.
They drop the F-bomb like twice. They talk about some, I guess some people would say, risque things.
Right.
It's not by any means.
But those were pretty much the only negative reviews I could find.
I'm having a hard time thinking of the worst fall movie.
Overall, the reviews were largely positive. A lot of people said that if you weren't in high school, you wouldn't appreciate this. But I mean, everybody has been to high school, right? Like, everybody has a memory they could draw back on. Like, I think if I saw it today, I would still like it. Like, it may be a little young, but I would still enjoy it.
If they made this movie today, I don't think it would be the same because the soundtrack kind of makes
really
this
like
movie.
that soundtrack?
Some of those songs you would never be like, okay, well, I'm going to put this in a football movie, but they worked.
Now, in 2016, they said that CMT was developing it as a show.
Now, I think that's a terrible
Now, I don't get or watch CMT, so I can't tell you if it ever happened or it fell through, because, I mean, that was 3 years ago, if it's still in production or what. But I don't want to see them.
Miss Davis got some big old nipples, man. Like, they must have made it cold in there for her. I give it a 10! A 10! A fucking 10!
I wondered how much of this podcast was just going to be you quoting the movie.
Less. I'm trying to bring it back. Less than you would think.
So, what line do you quote most often?
There's the Nothing But Net one. There's a couple hot dogs in there if you're hungry.
Uh-huh. I don't want your life.
The 10, I usually just limit it to, I give it a 10.
Yeah, you don't bust purposes. Out a fucking 10 at work.
The 10 and the Nothing But Net a lot. One that I've neglected is You Don't Like Trains. What? You don't like trains?
Which is weird because that references the deleted sex scene.
I don't know if necessarily
nobody
was
knows
a
what
sex scene, but they were definitely obviously somewhere out in the train yard.
Well, in the trailer, Vanderbeek 100% had his pants off laying on the car hood. So I would say the sex scene. Probably. And they apparently also named his penis in that scene.
Pedro. Because
he threw out Pedro during sex ed. So and everybody was like, Pedro.
It's after the pep rally scene and before the sex ed. There's pep rally scene, then him and Jules outside.
Right.
Against the school. They reference, you want to watch trains tonight? So, and then the next morning they had sex ed.
Right.
So if anybody has knowledge or footage of this scene,
I looked it up on YouTube. I've Googled it every way I can. I could not find it. We have the DVD. It's not on there. So you played football in high school. How would you rank their portrayal of high school football? I mean, it's obviously
pretty good.
Dramatized.
Now, what I did notice is, the stadium was bigger than ours.
Well, it's Texas.
But it's small for Texas. Their stadium has a set of bleachers like ours on both sides.
Right. Well, I think they said
a lot of schools in Texas.
It's a AAA school, team, but I think in Texas it goes to 5.
But still, a AAA school has the bowl. Like a lot of them have the bowls,
right?
And a lot of them look like little miniature Notre Dame stadiums. like not necessarily the architecture on the outside, but the inside. That bowl, like that in Michigan, that a smaller version, like a concrete bowl. A lot of them have.
They also had bulbs burnt out in their scoreboard, which I thought weird.
Well, every scene was kind of dark in the football scenes.
Right.
Which I'm sure, like, being there versus, like, being live, it probably looked a lot brighter.
Right.
They didn't skimp on the uniforms. Like, these kids have legit pants with pads, thigh pads, knee pads. They got the right belts.
Wendell was a football player in college and signed a free agency deal with the Kansas City Chiefs for a year before he was cut, and then went to movies and got this role. Really?
Good for Wendell.
Good.
I guess his mom
really put in work.
Put in that recruiting work.
That's right.
But, I mean, they got...
So, but we're talking about your high school experience. Was it?
It's pretty on point. Like, you have all the stereotypical people. You got your star players.
Your players that it doesn't matter if you're knocked out on the field, apparently.
Yeah, you got your linemen. And you got... What they didn't show is there are a lot more inter-team beefs. They didn't really get into that.
Right.
Which I guess if they're going to do a TV show, they... Because there would be fights almost every day, especially like early high school, middle school, early high school, a lot of fights, but... It didn't matter what happened at practice. When you're playing another team, those kids always had each other. Some of the people that are best friends now fought all the time.
Don't you feel like a Varsity Blues TV show would just be...
It'd be way worse than cheese.
It would just be exactly like the Friday Night Lights TV show, right?
But it'd be all these new kids and their vape pens and
right.
Like there'd be a vape machine beside the oxygen tank.
Kids can't breathe to play football now because they start vaping at 13.
We never had oxygen readily available on the sidelines. That was
I
mean, I'm sure it was in the ambulances, but overall, I think the movie kind of holds up at least to how I remember things being.
Right, I agree.
And like I said earlier,
I am jealous of that high school house party they had, though. That was a great house party.
And earlier in the podcast, I said that I was surprised I didn't notice as much of people like trying to force things when they were acting out the scene. There were just a couple times where Billy Bob seems like he was forcing stuff.
They actually were given production notes during the movie that Billy Bob needed to tone it down because he was stealing the entire movie. And I 100% believe that it is very much a movie about Billy Bob. Like,
but why not let the fat people have a moment?
He had everybody else is pretty much who they were, but Billy Bob had a good character arc.
Yeah.
Even though Mox had a little existential crisis and reestablished who he was still the same person in the end.
Yeah. But it wasn't. I kind of get where he was coming from. Like at on one hand, he doesn't want to play for the guy who's an asshole.
But
he doesn't want to feed into that.
saying,
If he plays and they win, everybody just thinks Kilmer's a great coach. They got his 23rd district title, blah, blah, blah. If he doesn't play, Kilmer wins because Kilmer pushed him out.
I'm more saying...
He felt like it was a lose-lose.
He had an existential crisis after he won that first football game, and they started interviewing him and writing Mox is a fox on his car, and he started getting all this attention, which I get because he basically became like a superstar in their little microcosm world.
Overnight.
I get it goes to your head very much, but he absolutely let it go to his.
He let it go to his head a little bit, but I feel like for the most part he stayed mostly true to himself.
Yeah, I mean, he only went to her house and kissed her a few times, I guess.
I mean, can you blame him, though? Can you, for real? I mean, that whipped cream bikini or shaving cream bikini?
Shaving bikini,
that
kids.
Barbasol bikini?
That's right. If you're reenacting it at home, you gotta use shaving cream.
Don't eat it.
It's not nearly as delicious.
Don't eat it, or Tide Pods. Damn kids today. But I like Billy Bob. He could have stole the show. I don't think I would have minded that.
I think that's fine. I mean, Billy Bob's still in the... I don't know why they had problems with it. It just has to be because he's heavy.
No, I think they wanted the focus.
So when we got our dog, she's a girl, and it was between Mox and Jules. But you were 100% going to name her after Varsity Blue. And I called my dad and let him be the deciding factor. He said, "Oh my God, Jules sounds like a stripper. Don't do that to your dog." So she became Moxie, but we call her Mox like 90%.
Yeah, she goes by Mox. She knows she's named after a dude. She's fine with it.
She's okay with it. She's secure. At least she didn't call her Billy Bob or Bacon, I guess.
What about your high school experience and how it relates to
Well, I wasn't a thirsty bitch. I wasn't dating you because I thought you would make it out of our small town. I figured I could get out of our small town by myself. So I guess I would be Jules if I had to identify with a character. Those really were like the only two girls. Like if you're going to pick a girl to identify with in the movie, you could either be the thirsty thought or like the homely girl.
Or you could be career-oriented Miss Davis.
That's right. Miss Davis is just out here trying to get that money.
She was making that money. INDEPE.
I liked it though. I still like it.
I still like it. Holds up.
I think all those half-star reviews can go eat it.
Now, this is probably one of the newest movies we're going to review.
1999. That is the end of our limit.
Yeah. Well, hope you guys enjoyed it. This has been Run It Back.